Welcome to the Kokoli Movie Recap channel. Today, I'll be recapping the romantic drama film, titled Nobody's Home. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. A boy was sitting with his sister in the balcony. He asks his sister where is mom? Is she sleeping? She says yes she is. Then he takes the key of the car and tries to take the car for a drive. But he didn't know how to drive properly. That's why their mom gets mad when she hears the sound of the car. She quickly runs after the car and keeps yelling at them to pull over. When they see she is coming after them, he pulls over and runs away from there because he knew her mom is about to beat him over taking her car. She calls her elder daughter Fairy and asks her to bring a dealer home. She gets so mad after this incident that she decides to sell the car for good. She didn't want any accident to happen because of this stupid boy. Fairy bought a man home to sell that car who works in her office. He was a dealer as well as her friend when he was checking the car. Eric comes over there. He gets pissed looking at him, checking his car. He says, "How dare you to touch my car? Who the hell are you?" Joseph says, "Don't get mad at me. Your mom told me to sell this car. Don't argue with me. Just go talk to your mom." Eric feels so bad that his mother is selling the car that he misbehaved with her, saying you don't have the rights to sell her. It's a family car. You can't make decisions by yourself. Eric had anger issues what his mother couldn't control. But no matter what he said, she sold that car anyway. He goes to his friend's home to stay with him for a while. Next day, when his friend tries to wake him up, Eric doesn't listen. His mom says, "Doesn't he have a home to go to?" Barry says he will. Mom, just give him some time. He is really upset right now. Eric belonged from a middle-class family who were going through a lot in their life because they didn't have much money for their daily expenses ever since their father left them. But Eric couldn't understand all this. He wasn't mature enough. He didn't even go home for a couple of days because he didn't want to talk to his mom. His mom was worrying about him, but he was enjoying his life, smoking cigarette over there with his friends. Next morning, when his friend's mom was cleaning the house, Eric was continuously looking at her in an awkward way. She had no idea what he's up to. He goes after her in the another room, grabs her and forces her to do things with him. Things happened so fast that she couldn't even believe what just happened with her. After that, he goes to a lake and sits alone for a while. He was not be able to decide that should he go back to his home or should not because he was still mad at his mom overselling the car. Meanwhile, they decide to go out for dinner. But when her elder daughter comes home from the office, she sees mom is not even ready. She asks her, "Why are you not ready? What's wrong?" She says, "I'm just not in the mood to go anywhere." Fairy knew that she is lying. She just doesn't want to go anywhere without Eric. That's why they all had dinner at home. Later at night, Eric comes home. After all, he couldn't stay away forever. He had to come back home one day. But his mom insulted him, she says. "So they finally kicked you out, huh?" Eric doesn't say anything and goes straight into his room. Even his mom didn't talk to him. She goes to Fairy instead to sleep with her. Next morning, Eric comes to her sister and says, "I need some money," but she says, "I don't have any." Go to mom and ask her. He was not in the mood to hear no. He takes the money by himself from her purse. She tries to stop him but couldn't do anything. Eric didn't know what to do with his life. He wasn't even ready to take the responsibility of his family. After that, he goes to his friend's home. His mom says Barry is not at home. "So why are you here?" But he didn't say a word. She didn't want to talk to him. That's why she goes to the kitchen and keeps doing her work. Eric too goes after her and grabs her. He begins doing romance with his friend's mom, but this time she let him do it. Meanwhile, Joseph comes to meet Fairy at her home. For her, he was just a very good friend. But when he was talking to her, he flirts a little bit with Fairy. She was thinking, why is he talking with me like that? She didn't say a word, but still these two kept talking with each other for a really long time, and then he leaves the house. Meanwhile, when Eric feels like his friend is coming home, he sneaks out of there because he didn't want him to know that he was doing romance with his mom behind his back, but he saw him anyway. He quickly comes after him and says, "Why are you going without talking to me? What happened?" Eric says, "I'm just not in the mood to talk to anyone right now. That's why I was going home," he says. "Okay, see you later." When Eric reached home, his grandma cooks dinner for him, but he didn't eat it properly because he was feeling depressed. He was kind, a boy who was lost in his life. He wanted money, wealth, success, everything. From the very first day, without struggling, he was crying because he had nothing and he didn't even know where to start to get what he wants. One day, Joseph asks Fairy to go out somewhere and she couldn't even refuse him. After all, he was a very good friend. He takes her to a store to buy something for himself and also to spend some time together. Fairy had no idea what's she even doing with a man who is 10 years older than her. But she was alone in her life too. While talking, Joseph proposed her for marriage. All of a sudden, when Fairy comes to her home, she talks to her mom about it. She says, "Mom, Joseph proposed me for marriage and I accepted his proposal." Her mom begins crying and says, "Honey, he is not a good man for you," she says. "Mom, you never said anything about him like he is a bad man. Until now he was always been a good man in your eyes, and now when he wants to marry me all of a sudden is not good for me," Fairy says. "I don't care what you think, Mom. He is a good man and I'm marrying him in a couple of months. Either you like it or not," her mom says. "What's the rush? How old are you?" She says, "I am 32. I should have gotten married a long ago." Meanwhile, Eric went to his friend's home to Barry's birthday party. His mom asks him, "You haven't been coming to my home lately. What's wrong? Don't you need me anymore?" He says, "I'm just busy in school, work." But she knew he is lying. She could clearly see he got bored of her. After all, she was just an old woman. Why wouldn't he meet her? When Eric comes back home, he gets to know that his sister is getting married in just 2 months. He gets really mad after hearing this because there was no one in that family who could earn money by himself. Fairy was the only one who was earning. She says to her brother, "You got to be strong, responsible. Once I'm gone, you have to support this family." But her mother says, "Leave it on me. I will feed them the way I have always been because your brother doesn't have the guts to earn money by himself." Eric feels so insulted that he walks out of there and goes straight to his friend's mom. But he sees her husband is home. She starts pretending like, "Didn't I tell you my husband is about to come home?" Eric says, "I really am sorry. I came here to see Barry. Is he not home?" She says no. Meanwhile, we see Joseph has begun dropping Fairy home every day. One day he kisses her in the car, but Fairy didn't like it. She walked away from there. At night we see she is brushing her teeth and crying too because she didn't want to marry him. But she was helpless and already 32-year-old. What could she do? Fairy never found the right partner for herself. Till now, Joseph was the only man she could find. That's why when he proposed her, she couldn't refuse. She had no other choice but to marry him. One day, when Eric comes out of a shop after buying something, he sees his own dad in a car. He starts yelling his name and running after that car like crazy on the road. But he didn't listen. Eric was upset because he finally had the chance to talk to his father, but he didn't even stop to talk to him. Few weeks later, her mom gets really sick right on her engagement day. She had to take him to the hospital, Joseph says. "My mom, dad, my uncle, my brother, everyone is on their way for our engagement. We can't postpone our engagement now," she says. "I know. Let me talk to my mom." When she was trying to talk to her that how do we manage the engagement party? She says, "You know, Fairy, you have always been that unlucky from the birth. It's like you have a dark cloud on you and now you can't engage because of me today." But she didn't want to postpone her marriage at any cost. She takes her mom at home and gets engaged in front of her. It was looking like she didn't want her daughter to get married, especially with the man who is 10 years older than her. When party is over, she says to her daughter, "You know, it was feeling like you were going crazy to have a husband in the party." Fairy feels so bad after hearing her taunting that she breaks the plate, what she was holding in her hand right there, and walks out of there. Her mother was not upset because Fairy was getting married. She was upset because now she wouldn't get her salary every month. Fairy was the only one who was earning in the family. But what could she do now? Everyone gets married one day. Her mom was so pissed that she even tried to break their marriage. She tells Joseph that, "My daughter is not as good as you think. She always keep working, always comes late at home. You would be lucky if you find her home on time even once in a month. She could never keep you happy." Joseph gets to understand what she is up to. She is trying to break our marriage. That's why he says, "You don't need to worry about us. I will manage because Fairy has everything." What a man needed a woman. One day when Fairy comes back home, she sees Eric is doing drugs in his room. She gets so mad at him that she starts beating him, saying, "Why don't you understand? You have to support this family when I'm gone and you are doing drugs. Grow up, Eric. Once I'm married, this family will have no one but you who will take care of them." They both begins crying. After this, the day finally came when she was about to get married. Everybody was celebrating, but her mother was drinking. She never wanted Fairy to get married because of her financial condition. They all were dancing in the party, but Fairy knew how depressed her mother is. Who is going to take care of her family when she's gone? Her mother was crying watching her daughter getting married. So was Fairy. But there are things in the world which are meant to happen one day. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to receive all new updates.